Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Well, there is a call lately to bring back the 1970s style summer experience for our kids. But can we bring back those bygone childhood experiences like playing outside, making mud pies when there were no devices and parents weren't so obsessive? Our next guest believes that we can and we should. Please welcome back Lenore Skenazy, author of Free Range Kids and founder of the Free Range Kids movement, as well as president of Let Grow. Good to see you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm up earlier than usual. How are you?
Good to see you. Let's refresh everyone's memories. You received tons of backlash over 10 years ago when you decided to do what?
I let my 9-year-old ride the subway in New York City, where I live, by himself. I wrote a column about it, and 2 days later I was on all the talk shows like yours, defending myself, and I got the nickname America's Worst Mom.
Oh my gosh, and look at you. And he's thriving, by the way, at 22 now. Time flies.
He's fine.
So let's talk about the free range movement. What does that look like?
Well, right now it's actually doing pretty darn well because kids have so much free time without all their scheduled activities. First of all, without school, and now a lot of kids without camp. Kids are outside riding their bicycles, they're baking, they're making things on their own, and really the chance to be a kid has sort of been the silver lining of the horrible COVID crisis, because they just have free time that they didn't have when their lives were so incredibly scheduled and adult run.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I remember being bored a lot, and that leads to a ton of creative play. You're saying it's okay if your kids are bored.
You know, it is okay, but they won't be bored forever. I mean, boredom is a painful experience. And we just did a survey of 1,600 kids, in America, not in Canada, ages 8 to 13. And we asked them a bunch of adjectives. And certainly the first adjective that they chose out of the list of 10 was bored. And the second one was happy. And at the very bottom was sad. And I think the reason is when you're bored, eventually, you go outside, or you start, Googling how to make something, or you go in the kitchen and you say, okay, I guess I'll make pancakes for the family. And once you're actually doing something that we sort of took away from kids' lives when we did everything for them, once you got that independence again to make something happen, that's making kids happy. You know, before the pandemic, childhood anxiety and depression were going up for about 2 generations. And at Let Grow, we think that's because they had so little chance to live their lives. You know, you have to get in the car, you got to get to school, you got to, after school, there's a ton of homework, and there's soccer, and there's the reading log, and you got to shove your food down because it's about to start another day like that. There was no room to breathe, and now there is. I mean, there's a lot of room to breathe, perhaps a little too much, but kids are really happy.
Now, so talk to us about a helicopter parenting then, because that seems to be shifting, and you call it the worst first mentality in the way we're thinking. Right.
So after I let my son ride the subway, and I was on all these television shows talking about how proud he'd been and how happy we were that he had done something independently, the people interviewing me would always go to, okay, everything turned out fine, but what if it didn't? How would you feel if he never came home? And I was like, why do we have to think about that extreme, horrible possibility that is almost infinitesimally small versus the fact on the ground, which is that kids do things on their own, and you train them to not get into somebody else's car, to not walk off with anybody, and they're going to be okay. So I realized that we'd gotten into the habit of always going to the worst case scenario first, and telling parents they better not let their kids do anything, because that could, 1 in a million chances happen.
Right.
And so I feel like helicopter parenting was this mode of supervision and assistance and intervention that was sort of shoved onto parents by a society saying, well, if you let your kid walk to school, they could be hit by a car. And if you let them wait at the bus stop, they could be kidnapped. And if you let them make pancakes, they could get burned. And we just got so used to hearing these worst case scenarios first, we absorbed this new model of parenting that I don't think anybody really likes. Parents' time is completely subsumed by driving their kids and watching every soccer practice. And kids have none of that. Probably what you had, some time to ride your bike outside as a kid, make forts, play. Did you have that?
I certainly did. We would make fun with like 5 rocks. I know it sounds so cliche. A water hose, that was a good day, and some crackers and some butter. We'd spread it on there and make a little picnic, and we had the best time, right?
Yeah, well, one of the things that's so interesting is that people remember that with such fondness. And they think that like that's sort of how they got to know their neighborhood and how they learn to get along with people and make their own fun. And they say, but we can't give that to our own kids. And at Let Grow, we say, yes, you can. The crime rate is back to what it was when you were a kid. Crime rate was like zoomed up until the 90s and then has been zooming down since then. And really, if there's no such thing as zero risk. Okay, you can keep your kids inside, completely safe, in front of a screen all day long or in an organized activity, but there's also a chance that they'll get, depressed or diabetic or obese because they're not doing things on their own and they're not running around. So the idea that the only safe way to raise a kid is by hovering constantly is a false one. And like I say, I don't think parents like it. I don't think kids like it. And like Grow, we're just trying to re-normalize the idea of you called me on today to talk about a 70s or an 80s childhood. We're just trying to re-normalize the idea that this is not crazy. In fact, it's safe and healthy to give kids more independence because that's what they need.
I know parents will be wanting to ask you so many more questions and want to seek out information. Where do they go, Lenore?
Oh, please come to letgrow, letgrow.org. That's where we have ideas and testimonials and do-it-yourself projects and printable posters. Or come online to on Facebook. We have a Let Grow Facebook page, and we also have a little No More Helicopter Parenting discussion page. So you'll be able to find us. Yeah.
Love to you and your family. Stay safe, and thank you for that today. It was wonderful. We'll be back with more BT right after this. Let Grow.